So this is the Board of Health meeting.
Oh, wait, so, oh, okay, there you go, sorry.
Board of Health meeting Thursday, May 4th, 6 PM, we're down in conference room 3, down in the bowels place. Present at the meeting is Sue Graska
Jean Nilsson,
Thomas Hibbert
and,
and Christine Southworth and Trish Setelo are logging in now on Zoom.
and Mackenzie's unable to join us. So, we don't have any public comment, no?
no, we don't have any public.
No
We have any
public.
Okay. And quickly, we'll just, the minutes were sent out to be reviewed. Can I make a motion to accept them?
I make a motion, I
Yeah,
reviewed
accept
them, I sent you back a couple comments, and you has corrected them.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to accept them.
Wait, I made one quick change. I didn't tell you guys, but I made one
Sure.
quick change. I do have a copy. You gave me credit for drafting the IMA template. And it was given to me by Mass Association Health Board, so I just reworded that.
Yeah.
So I
Did you-
got this that's the one in the share that I revised.
Okay, so we can vote on that one.
Yep,
And is that the corrected one there?
yep,
that
this
I
is
can
the
give to
corrected one.
everybody?
Yep,
So we can sign that one.
you can sign that one.
Okay,
That-
I'll make a motion to approve the corrected one after the corrected one.
Okay, and
Being
I
corrected.
second
Okay.
that, and all in favor,
Jean Nilsson, I.
Sue Braska, aye.
Okay, we sign it, so.
Right, and, just needed back to back. You know what I mean, back to back,
Oh, yeah,
double sided.
Oh, yeah.
Pages 1 and 2.
yep, I can do that.
Page 2 is separate, so.
What's today, the 4th?
Yep.
Yes. Keep that.
Okay. And town
Oh,
next
yeah.
is fine.
Yep.
Okay,
And then who would like to go first, Trisha or Chris?
I'll go first.
Okay,
All right. So for Southwick, I've been doing the food pantry meetings and providing literature. And every month I take the senior center flyer and I kind of deconstruct it and reconstruct it to send to the food pantry. They share it with their patrons. I send it up to Tallinn. They post it. And same with Granville. So everybody is aware of what's going on in Southwick. The Elm students have finished. And Cindy Sullivan at our senior center loved it so much that she wants them to come back in the spring. She thought it was a great collaboration between the seniors and the Elm students. So we'll be working on that with the Elms to make that a yearly thing.
so they can't come back in the fall, just the spring, because they're.
Yes,
all the
it's-
stuff. Okay,
It's only done in the spring semester for the
okay,
Elms. Yep. I did a sleep presentation that I presented on with a colleague at the Southwick Library, and we had 13 people, and they loved it. So the Elms did their presentation at the library, which was a good one. It was on preventing ear infections in children, but unfortunately only one person showed up. But anyways, she learned, and ahead.
What time was that?
like 6 o'clock at night. So
Oh,
it
huh,
was a good time.
yeah,
Yeah. And we still had some thermometers from COVID. So and that was one thing I said, oh, if you come to the, the presentation, you'll get a free thermometer, but oh, well, the
next
one
time.
person that came got a thermometer. So, and then, I've been gearing up for our health fair, which is in 2 weeks, May 17th at Southwick. So we have 25 vendors. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So 17th, when's our next meeting? 4 plus, so that'll be before our next meeting. right?
Yeah, I think our meeting's on the 18th.
Okay,
Yeah.
So,
So
good.
Tom can fill you in. But it looks to be really good. And so in Southwick, we just had a few things going on for communicables. I had 2 influenza, hepatitis C, 1. We had a group A strep, and then we had 5 COVID. In Granville, I've been going up to the library. I do a lot of collaboration with the library, and we're trying to bring a bunch of presentations up to the library there. That'll probably be more in the next few months. And then I go to the town hall and do blood pressure clinics. Granville only had a Hep B, no COVID. And then Tolland, I go up to the town hall in what they call the public safety complex. That's kind of like their senior center, and do blood pressure clinics, and no communicables in Tolland. That's all I have.
Okay. In Russell, the Elm students facilitated improving your health by retraining your brain for happiness. And then they also created a tips for panic and anxiety trifold for the library. So I delivered that with some supportive materials. I have health information in their town newsletter that goes out every month. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we hear
yeah.
you fine.
Okay, because there's tons of static that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little bit of background noise, but we can
Oh,
hear you
okay.
fine.
All right, fine. Let's see. So we do have the scam and fraud person doing a presentation on Monday
What's
over
that?
there. It's
What's that?
it's through Springfield Commission for
Consumer
Other
affairs.
Other affairs, right? Yeah, so they do a presentation on fraud, scams, and identity theft. So that's going to be on Monday.
On scams, okay. I thought you
Yeah,
said-
yeah. Oh, okay. And then there were 3 COVID cases in Russell. In Blandford, I gave the Board of Health a 6-month Maven report printout. And we have booked monthly mindfulness workshops at the general store. We did the first one on Monday, and we had 9 people show up, and it went really well. I spoke to the post office there, and I'm going to create a monthly health poster for there. And there was only 1 COVID case in Blandford. In Montgomery, I'm having difficulty with that with the foot care nurse. So I went to Plan B, and I'm going to try to contract with foot care nurses. They're expensive. They're $85, but there is a formula grant in the town that has not been used. There's $11,000 in there, and that is for use for the seniors. So I'm trying to see if I can get access to that to supplement the foot care. That's what they're doing in Chester. They supplement $65 per person, and the participant only pays $20. So I have to write an email to the board and see how I proceed there, because right now they do not even have a Council on Aging board. So I'm not sure how we access those funds, but they're sitting there, and that's all for senior services.
Hey, how about, so you need a foot care nurse?
Yes.
Who does Southwick use?
She-
You know?
I reached out to her. She never got back to me.
To Cindy Sullivan?
Yes. No, not Cindy Sullivan, the person that she gave me.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know that she goes up that far.
Okay,
All right. I know the foot care nurses will do it. And that's who goes to Chester, because I spoke to the Chester. She happened to be in Russell when I was there. So that's how they do it. And they go all the way to Chester. So I know they'll go to my towns.
okay.
So I'm waiting on that. I'm having difficulty with my Outlook. It's been down for a couple days since they migrated everything. My Outlook did not migrate. So I have to go in there tomorrow to get that fixed. So I haven't been able to email, but I've been away at the conference for 2 days anyways.
Is Jim gonna be in tomorrow?
Yeah, you should be.
Yes. Yeah, I already talked to him. He tried to do it from the talking to me, and he couldn't. So I will go there tomorrow. There were no COVID cases in town. Tricia and I both completed the Dementia Friends training. And then I attended the Mass Public Health monthly meeting last month. and attended, Tricia and I both went to the Mass Council on Aging conference last week, and that was very good. As far as the health fair, I've been doing kind of the marketing piece where there was supposed to be an article in, or a advertisement in the Reminder. The Country Journal is doing an article. Southwoods is doing an ad type thing, right, Tricia?
Yep.
And then Westfield News, and I can do the Reminder again for next month. And Elm students are completed. They will not be doing my towns because my towns, we don't have like a set amount of people right now. And I was going to Southwick Villages, and it was, so anyways, they will not be going to my towns in the spring. I spoke to Highland Valley. They have a rural healthcare grant, and I talked to the Grill about seeing if their music would it may qualify for that, and so they would get funds to pay the musicians. And then they also talked about a free biosize facilitator training for a pilot program that I am talking to them about. And that may do that in Southwick.
Just to go back a second,
Sure.
all these ads that you have for the Reminder and
Right.
Southwood, are they like under a public service announcement and no
Yes.
charge?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good, very good.
So that's it for me.
All right.
Now, I was wondering, we haven't been doing this, but do we need to like make a motion to accept those reports?
No, I think we're just, you put down that they're in addition to the minutes.
Right. So Christine, will you be able to, email me your report so I can print
Sure.
it out?
Tomorrow I can.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I can, or to Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Tom,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah,
print it
yeah,
out.
absolutely. Absolutely. Will do.
Okay, so that you're also, did you ever get anybody from Noble?
No,
Good, all right.
That's good.
No, I'm being.
no. I mean, I actually called back there too, and I called the volunteer person too for the second time, because she said she was going to get me some brochures. She was pretty excited about it, and now it's crickets. So I don't know.
All right, so set this up, do we have to set up tables or do they come with whatever they're gonna, how does it work? The setup?
Tables will be set up with two chairs, correct, Tricia?
Yep. By the custodians.
So they set up 25 tables or whatever they need and. okay.
Yeah, I had to do a diagram and they have it.
All right, and you have, refreshments?
We're getting them next week, I guess. Water bottles. Yep.
How about anything else?
I only have $25, so I'll have to see how much the water is going to cost.
So is there any, in the grant?
I don't think that grant lets you cover food or anything. So,
Is that a miscellaneous,
no. So we can, I mean, we have the gift card and, there are a couple vendors that will have food, right?
For
Won't be
sale.
freebies, but
Yes, for sale.
there will be some refreshments. But we'll at least get the water.
all right. Okay, anything else? Any questions?
Nope. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, thank
All
you,
right.
ladies.
Thank
Have
All right,
a
good.
night.
Good
See you tomorrow.
night. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so to get, what's under your, that report? And if you can just print the minutes out, the first page.
Yeah.
Back that,
We'll do,
thanks.
no problem.
Okay, you're on.
So well, there's the physician's agreement,
Oh,
which,
yeah. So,
um,
so I sent, I
yeah.
emailed it. I have not
Haven't heard back yet?
Heard back
Okay,
yet.
so we got everything finalized, the drafts and everything, so we just need signatures and his tax documents, and then we can. The table's all set at this point, we just have to,
It's only
Do
been
it.
since, when did Alex leave in February?
Oh,
When did you
Okay.
start February?
I started
1st?
February 1st, so.
Physically.
Oh, so
Mhm.
Alex, no, because he left in January because Tom filled in.
Yeah.
Or the end of December, so,
December, I think, yeah, you're right, just ended.
so Dr. Long probably saying, forget this.
Yeah.
But, I had spoken with Alex and Alex says if it doesn't work out, that he might have the name of a physician. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully this will work out.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep. All right, so, septic, we did a couple, COCs. And final inspections at, 21 Noble Steed. 3 George Loomis, and then a couple finals on Tall Pines Trail.
Okay, so
Numbers.
Noble Steve was new,
Yep,
George
George Loomis was a repair.
repair.
And then I did a couple final inspections that were new for Tall Pines Trail. Haven't got the sign offs yet, so those haven't issued a COC yet. Approve the plan for 14 Revere Road and 3 Pondview Lane. If you recall, the 3 Pondview Lane was the one with the bedroom discrepancy. So I actually looked it up in the code again. And, when there's more than 8 rooms, you can say the bedroom count is half of the rooms. So I approved the plan. It allows you to go under the bedroom count if you file a deed restriction. So I approve the plan under the condition that they're not gonna get a certificate of compliance from us unless they file the deed restriction for the 4 bedrooms that they designed it for. No need to walk around the house and see how many bedrooms they have if they file the deed restriction, because then they're stuck with 4 bedrooms for eternity,
So
so,
they have to update their deed.
yep, so that, and I put that in the condition of the plan, so. That,
and if they don't,
then they won't get a COC and they won't have a functioning septic, well, that won't work, but
I wonder how long
Well,
it takes to
right.
update a deed though.
I think it's pretty straightforward. There's
Yeah.
a draft form and, Barry Searle was the engineer. He said he'd help them with filling it out, and I think they just need to get a lawyer to file it for them, so. It's fairly, a lot of the, like alternative type systems require you to do that, so, the times I've seen it, it hasn't been too much of an issue for anyone, so. On housing, the 2 Lakemont Street, I just talked to the buyer, and they're closing next week, and he's gonna give the occupant just a week. I think he said 5 days to,
so somebody
get out.
actually occupies that.
yeah, yep, so he will be gone in the very near future. We got someone,
Bob,
Bob.
Okay, let's Bob at the end if he has any questions.
So that was the Lakemont Street, 440 College Highway. That I did a reinspection. I might
Is that
have
the
already,
one here?
yep, just a few houses down. Some of the stuff was fixed, most of the big things. There was a couple other little things, and they had replaced the smoke detector, but didn't have fire department out yet. Fire department's going out Monday, and I'm gonna reach out to the landlord tomorrow. I'm hoping they've done everything else. I'll go out
So
with,
wait a minute, so you had, last meeting you had gone to do a final inspection and they weren't done.
correct.
And then this time you went again.
And I haven't been back yet.
Okay,
But I sent them a violation notice, or a reinspection notice, I guess. So I'm hoping they've finished everything else, and I'll be able to tag along with fire department on Monday. And then hopefully that one will be done. 16 Congamon Road, that is the one with all of the trash bags out in the back. I've been working with Housing Authority. And I did stop by and talk to the occupant and also, another agency that is involved with the family.
What's the other agency?
DCF,
D,
Department of Children and Families. So, the person from DCF had actually been in the house and thankfully said the house there was no issues indoors. It was just all the trash outdoors, which is
Good, good.
a big relief for us. And they were gonna be going back out soon. Hopefully we'll be able to get them some help. So I'm gonna swing by probably tomorrow or beginning of next week, and if there's no progress, I'll finally issue a formal violation notice, to really light the fire, but I was relieved to hear that from DCF.
So you're going to issue the and potentially issue the violation notice to whom?
To the occupant, directly to her, so, but it's her response, I think in the lease, it's her responsibility for paying for the trash pickup, I think is probably part of the problem. But hopefully, between working with the landlord and DCF, hopefully they'll be able to come up with a plan to prevent this from happening again.
Do they have transportation?
I don't believe so. But I'm not 100% sure, so. And then the next one, this one is a doozy. This is 32 Lakeview Street, which is town property. And then 48 Lakeview Street, which is like around the corner, so.
Can you bring it up on the
Yeah.
GIS,
Yes, I can.
please?
Of course. So there is. Someone living in this shed. Which is on town property. They access it through this side yard here. Through the property of 48 Lakeview.
In which town entity owns that?
I think technically, treasure collectors.
Okay.
It was privately owned, and I think 10-15 years ago, they did a tax taking.
Okay.
So we got notified of the issue by the police department. Kyle and I went out there and talked to the person at 48. So they were trying to get rid of the person, but they're not living on their property. There's also an outhouse there as well, next to the shed. So
is a well?
no, it's on town water and sewer, but the person in the shed doesn't have any
Any water?
or thing, so they built an outhouse. So, that is that, so I could condemn it, but it's on town property, so we might be able to just trespass the person or evict them. So I, brought it up with Carl, we got town council involved, and we're trying to, he honestly said, he was like, I don't think there's much case law for that. So,
So it's a single, there's no children or
No.
anything involved?
nope, just a single,
Adult.
adult, yeah, that's staying in there, so.
So what did town council say?
They were looking at a few other options, so it might make sense to condemn it or to go for like an eviction or trespass them, so.
So who constructed this shed?
I believe it was the people at 48, and the I think the person in the shed was formerly affiliated with the people at 48 and now,
So the people of 48 encroached upon town land.
yeah, so there could be something of maybe ordering them to remove the shed and then also trespassing the person at the same time. I don't know what town council is gonna come up with, but that is on the radar, so we may or may not end up condemning it depending on what they determine is the best course of action, so.
And what kind of format is this porta potty? Is it like a Ricky's porta potty?
No, it's like
A
a,
box that
like
they-
The regular outhouse.
it looks like an outhouse you'd see at a cabin in the woods, just a
A box.
box, and I didn't go in, I'm assuming there's a hole in the ground. And, so that's an issue as well, being so close to the
Right.
lake, so.
And it's right in the back of the house. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, I mean, it
Property
is,
line.
I
So-
can see why you would have encroachment, because the property line is literally like on the back wall of the house, but,
Mm.
um.
How
So,
far from the lake? Just zoom out a little.
Like,
yeah, just right
Across the road from that.
there, so.
And there's no house on that property? Or there isn't?
I'm not sure. There isn't currently, so where the shed is about 330 feet from the lake, so. At least there's some distance there,
Hmm.
but. So I'll stay on top of that one and. Talk to town council some more and. Figure out whatever the best solution is there, but that's a new one for me. So, just
Hey.
wanted to let you guys know what was going on.
You're going to experience everything
I know.
eventually, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
So it's basically up to town council to see what they suggest to do.
yeah, cause it's on town property, so. So that's a unique situation, so we'll figure that one out. And then for dads, that is the old, probably Joe's. Did an inspection there with Kyle, the building inspector, and with the fire department last week. And that is coming along. They're hoping to open this summer. We'll see when they actually open, but they're definitely making progress. Subway reopened last week. I did a quick walkthrough. New ownership, so gave them their license and they opened up.
they paid the fee
Yeah.
Yep, they paid their fees and
and
everything.
then everything's the same,
Yeah.
same.
Yep, the same, and the person that bought it, he owns one of the Subways in Westfield as well, so. So I knew him already, so he knows what he's doing. And then yesterday I also inspected Roma. Was pretty good. There was a couple things, their walk-in was a little cluttered and a couple things I asked them to clean up, and they didn't have paper towels at their hand sink, so I told them I was gonna be back in a couple weeks just to make sure they did what I asked, but just for a quick spot inspection, so.
So a couple minor things.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Tom would say what, uneventful?
Yeah,
He would say it's uneventful.
uneventful, yeah. With the Public Health Excellence Grant, trying to think of where we even left off with that. I sent in all of the quarterly reports. We got our budget modification approved last week. They gave us the budget for fiscal 24, which is due at the end of this month. They granted us $268,000, which does not include the $40,000 that, which is the cut that goes to the 15% that goes to Southwick.
Does not include.
I don't believe so.
Therefore,
So-
it's 308.
I think so. So, so that I haven't had a lot of time to really go through it, but with everything we've talked about, doing the shared service coordinator and inspection software, and all that, I was playing around with the numbers. It looks like it should definitely be plenty for doing everything that we've been talking about doing, so. So that I've been working on that, and
Did they give you two separate things? Here's 200,000 and then here's another.
no, I
40,000?
think that's, I
Thought
think
they
that,
give you one lump sum and then you,
yeah. I think it was, that's just how they had worded it, so.
So that's going to be enough to hire?
I think so, yeah.
Shared service coordinator?
part-time.
Part-time.
I think it would even be, I wanna budget that for full-time. Because I don't wanna put ourselves in a position where if we can't find a part-time person. And then we halfway through the fiscal year and we need extra money to be able to get a full-time person.
But would they have enough work to be full-time?
Yeah.
I think we could, between all 6 towns, I think we could find enough work for them, but, ultimately,
You're doing it now.
right,
And still maintaining your job?
No, I think
or
part-time.
part-time, okay, so yeah, we'll have to bring that up at the,
Next year,
yeah,
I could see what it has to go.
we'll have to bring that up at the next grant meeting, because ultimately that, the 6 towns have to decide collectively.
May 18th, I'm working that day.
May 8th, we actually had to reschedule it, to. I have my, oh no, I left my work phone upstairs. I think we rescheduled it to the 25th,
Yeah, okay.
Thursday, the 25th.
So,
Cause it was gonna be Tuesday, the 16th, but that's town meeting day, so we said that's not gonna work.
You work every Thursday?
Yeah, I'll just see,
Yeah,
I'll just, see if I can
Yeah.
dial in.
so,
It's at 2:30, right?
yep, 2:30. So that will be then, and we're gonna have Mass Association of Health Boards, their attorney is going to zoom into the meeting to be able to answer any questions about the IMA. I sent the IMA out to all the towns, so hopefully they will bring it to their select board and their chief administrator, however they're set up, to see if they have any concerns with it, and we can get everything answered all at once, and then we can move forward if we all agree. I had sent it to town council and to Carl, or I sent it to Carl, he sent it to town council. So I'm gonna make sure they know when the meeting is as well.
That's a
if they want to
Municipal
attend.
agreement.
Yeah.
Sorry about-
Intermunicipal agreement. So I think that's all of the grant stuff I've been with the, I just found out yesterday, the inspection software we were looking at. I was worried that we were going to have to go through the process of getting 3 quotes. And that would be a little cumbersome to find 2 more companies. Have a meeting with all the towns so they can do the whole sales pitch and yada yada. And I actually got confirmation from DPH that for whatever reason, due to the grant and that inspection software, it is exempt from meeting, I think, chapter 30 requirements of procurement laws, and we don't need to do the 3 quotes, and we can just go with that one. So that will make it a lot simpler to implement that whole thing. So that was good news. And I think that's everything with the public health excellence grant. The new housing code was submitted to the Secretary of State last week, finally, and I believe it will be in effect on May 12th, as long as nothing else changes.
And you said there was no major changes, nothing.
No, there was one change that is, it would allow for alternative housing.
It's Alternative housing.
People that want to live in tiny houses
Oh,
and
that's
things
right,
like
yeah.
that. So that would allow it to be alternative housing, but only when it's owner occupied, and they would have to get a variance. And like, it's a process, so it doesn't just immediately legalized tiny houses.
So the town would have to
Yeah.
vote whether they want one of those, right?
But how can you tell a person that they have to build a house above minimum size? And
Or
there's a
below
rule that
minimum
says-
size. Yeah,
There's a rule that actually sizes houses.
yeah, yeah. For,
Huh.
yeah, you need, 150 square feet per person of living space. There was 100 for the first person, and then I think an extra 100 square feet for each additional person.
So there's two people in my house, that's 200 square feet. That's a tiny house.
Yeah, yeah, some of the tiny houses are like
Is that in the
Tiny.
building?
80
Is
square
that in the
feet.
building code or the housing code?
That's in the health code, the housing. That square footage. I don't know what's in building, so. So yeah, so there's some exemptions to some of those rules, but it's a whole process, so. Cause I think part of the concern was people are gonna, pop up these tiny houses and put them on Airbnb, yada, yada. So the way they revised the housing code is that has to be owner occupied, and they have to go through a whole process with us. So, and then other than that, I don't think there was anything major. Vining Hill, the next development up there, they're starting to perk. So I've got a bunch of perks scheduled this week with Dennis LaCourse, or not this week, this month.
And where is,
Is that Vining Hill or Mort Vining?
Mort Vining, sorry, it's Mort Vining.
and how many,
There's 28 in total.
28 lots?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna try to spread them out throughout the summer to get them all done, so.
Conservation been up there? Yeah.
Lastly, the issue of the backup inspector. So I've been talking with Tom, and ideally he would like to eventually be able to do septic work in town. And I also have been trying to get answers, because I'd like to be able to do septic work in Westfield on the side. And we got conflicting answers from the state ethics board about what.
That's a shot.
Yeah, so trying to get some clarification on that. I don't think they have a 1-year cooling off period where you can't do any work for a year. And then for certain things, there's a forever ban, and it's really not clear what applies to what. And then I think for Tom serving as a backup inspector,
For you,
for me, I don't think that, as long as he's not inspecting his own work, I don't think that 1-year cooling off period should apply. But I'm trying to get that in writing,
yeah, get that.
because anyone else we would, if it was just like, no, it won't work with Tom. Any of the other people we might use, Barry Searle, Randy White, Dennis LaCourse, they all do septic work in town, so no one's gonna wanna do it. Because then they wouldn't be able to do any septic work in town, so. So I reached out, I'm waiting to get an answer back from the State Ethics Commission to try and get some clarification on that, so hopefully we'll be able to stick with Tom and it'll work out fine, but.
I have a question, and maybe Joe, you know the answer. How does it work with our plumbing and electrical inspectors? Because they must do work in town.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I do.
And Joe Didi is going to identify himself.
Thank you,
before he
Joe Didi,
speaks.
258 Feeding Hills Road, Southwick, Mass. I got permission to speak.
Yes, you
Someone
do.
Can beat us up later. You are correct. My son is an electrical inspector in town, Ron, and he does work in town. He just can't inspect his own work.
Right,
And quite honestly, we just finished our 3-phase at our place finally. It took 2 years. And when he was ready for the inspection, the other electrical inspector was on vacation. So we literally had to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For someone to come inspect it.
So you have a backup inspector.
Right, but they're very strict and they don't need to, same with plumbing, no one inspects each other, and it's worked for years in this town, because we're a small town.
right,
And we are all handymen of sorts, so you need that, especially with Mr. Fitzgerald, who's been here forever. He's done a great job, and you should be able to
Right.
work in town.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you need a backup,
right,
it's not, this isn't,
And you know, Tom is just above and beyond straight laced. He does not make exceptions. He follows the book. He's, he wouldn't, he's not, doesn't have that type of personality where he can be bribed, bought, or convinced.
No,
Back in the day as an elected official, I think Tommy inspected me one more than usual every year. Like if it strikes you, I got 3.
Yeah.
That's for that reason, because he did
Because he's
not want,
above board.
yes, he went above and beyond
Yeah,
to torture me, not to torture me. But yes, but you're right,
Yeah.
most of this town is like that, though. We're respectable business owners.
right.
And none
Yeah.
of us, there's very few here that want to screw someone over. It
right,
really is, or bribes or any of that crap.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
No,
It
no.
doesn't, sorry.
And Tom is just, he's been just nothing but the
Yeah,
greatest
absolutely.
guy for years.
Yeah.
Yes, there shouldn't be a problem.
And very
Yeah.
fair.
yeah,
Yes, the biggest problem what you're going through, sir, is what I've learned with the officers you're dealing with, it's all in the wording.
it is,
It's all in the wording. If
Mhm.
you word it a certain way, everything's great. If you word it a certain way, they're not quite sure.
right, right.
It's all interpretation.
Yeah. And
unfortunately.
even when I was in Westfield, that always confused me, because it's the same thing with the building department in Westfield.
Yeah.
They will, even the full-time.
Right.
Will do work in town and the backup will inspect it. But I've never heard of a Board of Health person who does perks and all that. I've never seen anyone be allowed to do any work in the town they work in. So that's just always confused me.
Yeah.
If building and plumbing and gas, and if they can do their own work, why does it not apply? I don't know if maybe there's something specific in the state law in the electrical or plumbing code. But just trying to get the correct wording from the state so we can confidently have Tom do backups, and he can confidently do it without having to worry about any repercussions. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully it's not too painful.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
Is
no
that in
problem.
anticipation of you taking any time off as soon?
The end of August, I have a vacation planned, so, we're another backup inspector we're also considering doing that for the grant. That would be for the 6 towns. So, knowing how long it took to get the nurses up to speed and hired and all that, by August, that grant person might not be real yet. So that's another kind of option that if for whatever reason it doesn't work out with Tom, or anyone else for that matter, being employed directly by the town, we might be able to get someone through the grant. So at least we have a couple options.
I have a question, I know
Yeah.
I'm jumping back, the grant. If we want to discuss, a pay increase for our nurses, does that have to be an executive session?
Hmm.
Don't,
Do you know that? Can we ask you that, Mr. Beatty? Does that have to be an executive session if we're talking about pay increase?
So from my past experiences, I believe everything is in public now. I don't think back in the old day, executive sessions, you guys hashed out, you came out and said, this is what we're doing. The laws have changed over the last 2 years and everything is public knowledge. And it's hard sometimes, right? Because, there's things that have to be said and then it's personal and
right,
Right,
it's difficult.
but,
But I believe you would say that
right,
my opinion would be in public. But I don't know what.
but to set a rate, but to do on a one-on-one negotiation.
Well,
might-
that's different.
Yeah,
That's
that
different.
that would have to be.
And a review is
executive.
different of someone's salary and their
Yeah.
workload, right? That's
Right.
different.
But just to
But if you're gonna talk
discuss,
about, you have three grant nursing, right? Whatever it is, 5, 10 people, whatever you have. And you're talking about a line item for a nurse. You're not talking about an individual.
Mm,
Maybe 3 or 4 individuals that
Mhm.
are on that system. But realistically, you're talking about a nurse in this grant program gets paid $10 an hour. And you're discussing whether you want to go to 12. You're not single-handedly
right,
talking about any individual or their workload or what they've done.
right,
Well, it's kind of hard, it's only 2 people, one full-time, one part-time,
Yeah.
so.
So, still understood, but you're talking about the position, you're not talking about the person.
that's
Right.
true.
because they could quit anytime.
Right,
you could,
right.
Yeah,
It's that position is not exclusive to them Even though they're in it
employed there
now.
It's
right
Right.
now, but,
Right.
things change.
stuff.
They could go someplace and So it's the
I
position.
think you can help with. It's healthy to talk about it. I don't think you'd make a decision tonight anyways, and then you would have time to look and find out with your
Mhm.
research. So, and it's probably a new item on your. Most of them I've learned is anything that's a new item, you really don't vote on it the same.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Procedurally, you have to wait till the following meeting to make a motion to accept something.
Right.
It's healthy to talk about something.
Right,
You're not making a decision tonight, you're just bringing it out in the open.
yeah,
So I guess at what point will we do, we would wait till we get the money,
yeah,
the extra money, and then
yeah,
talk about it.
yeah, and it might
To make
be,
sure we get the money.
I'd have to confirm too, that might be something that. See, it's with this grant, it's tough without having that intermunicipal agreement. Cause the intermunicipal agreement spells out very clearly. It creates an advisory board for the grant. And that advisory board would be in charge of the budget for the grant, and I would be the administrator or the shared service coordinator who would present it to them, and each town has one, like the IMA spells out, one voting member and one backup. So that, but the IMA is not in place. So they gave us all this money and said, at some point, you're gonna have to come up with your standard operating procedures. But we don't have that yet, but we have the money. So I don't know currently. Should we go through that similar process with the 6 towns and have everyone, when we have the budget, have them vote on it and say, we want to pay the nurses this much and do it that. I don't know if it's necessarily the Southwick Board of Health's vote. Once we finalize the IMA, I know for a fact it will be the advisory board's vote. But in the meantime,
But you don't have enough people on the
Yeah.
advisory board is,
Well, it
They
doesn't
don't have to
exist
show
yet.
up.
because
right,
you
it
don't
doesn't,
have
it
the
doesn't
IMA.
exist, so.
So you think Southwick could do it now? Prior to,
I don't know.
as
I think
the
that-
sole
I
administrator?
think that's how everything started, the grant started up was with Southwick because
Southwick's the one that, Todd's the one that came up
they,
with
right,
how to get paid, how to
they,
separate the money.
right, they just set that all up and where I'm getting to the point where all the other towns are starting to be more involved, but initially they were kind of just along for the ride, so. So we're kind of in that weird interim period where I don't know what the right procedure
What
is
time
for
now?
that,
When did the
so,
nurses start last October? October 2022?
I don't know.
yeah,
All right, so
Yeah.
it would be a year this October, so hopefully we would
yeah.
have something finalized by.
Yeah, yeah, and we could do, I mean, the budget's due the end of the month, so. We'll have to talk about it we can talk about it at our next board meeting as well as. The next meeting for the grant, and I can talk to,
For the budget. We don't say how much they just give us a lump sum and we divide it up for our nurses.
right. Right,
Or are they gonna give us our lump sum and then we divide it up?
yeah,
Which line
they give us
items
a
we
lump
want.
sum and we can divide it up however we want. So,
And the makeup of your board is about to change,
Correct,
so that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Deep breath.
yes.
So you'd wanna hold off making the decision until the new member is up to speed
Yeah,
as far as what
right,
your intent is. So, not that I'll cry every Thursday night. You know,
you'll dial in.
The other
Listen
member's
to it.
still involved, she's just not on tonight.
Correct, she's not on tonight. She's not able to make it tonight.
No, yeah, so you're still,
yeah,
not paying attention.
Okay,
okay.
we're to end.
Oh, yeah, and then we had the Western Mass, oh, I did that, little dyslexic there. Western Mass Public Health Association, not Western Public Mass Health Association. Had the meeting for that last week and, working on a Title V conference and a housing code training. Both for the fall, housing code would be after a few months of, working with the new code to try to clarify any questions or anything like that that people come up with. And that was pretty much it, so.
So the Title V, didn't Tom go to like the Cape or something for a couple of days?
Yep,
And Western Mass Health paid for it.
yep. Yep. Yeah, so that's the conference in the Cape is MHOA, so that this one is just at the what's the one in East, I don't remember if it's in East Hampton or Holyoke, but right on Mount Tom there, whatever that event space is called these days,
Log cabin?
maybe, I think so. So,
Okay, unanticipated items, secretary's position.
yes, that is in, nothing's been finalized, but they've been working on the job description.
So
For-
who's working on it?
Nadine, the assistant chief administrative officer.
And what's it going to encompass?
It's looking like it's going to be a 20 hours in planning, 10 hours in health, and 7.5 hours of a floater.
And Board of Health is going to contribute.
Yep,
And they don't know the hourly rate yet.
I think that will be based off of the union rate,
Okay,
so, and that was,
and they'll
I mean,
increase,
Joe would know, I haven't seen it myself, but the money. Because we didn't have enough money in our budget to pay 10 hours at the union rate, but that was increased. Okay, thank you, sir.
so our budget will be increased to indicate that.
You will have funding to make this position work, I can promise you guys that.
Perfect. So
That's
I
what
like to-
finance committee had.
Yeah,
We face it.
Well, it's kind of not fair. You know, that you're hiring this person as a full-time. And they get 7 hours of floaters. But floaters get $15 an hour.
Correct.
So,
And I think that the feeling behind all this was, we're not filling these positions, right? So you had, and unfortunately, this town designs things around maybe existing people because you have a body that's doing X. So how do we keep that body? And that body wants to leave because that body wants more hours. And then you folks are having a problem with staffing. I get it. But so that gets us to 30 hours. Well, 30 hours isn't 37. It doesn't trigger benefits. And then the age we live in today is the benefits and everything else that comes with it. So I believe they just said, okay, we'll grab 7 hours out of this floater to design, whether we need it or not. I don't know if it'll ever be used. Maybe it ends up being used at Board of Health. I don't know. But that was their package present to make it solid. And then hit the union at the lowest rate, I believe, of the union clerk, whatever that position is, that was a union piece.
Now, how do you determine whether it's a union position or a non-union position?
Because when it triggered that many hours, it's not an executive secretary, it's, so there's unions in this town, right? And there's unions in town hall. So it's a clerical union, I believe, and I'm so sorry, folks, if I'm talking out of content or talking wrong. But my belief is it's a clerical union. That's where mostly all our staffing belongs to, and most of our departments, that's not a department head or executive secretary. It falls under clerical. So this position would fall under clerical. That's how it's just gonna work, and we, pray to God it does work, because you guys need real staffing. Well, and I don't think 10 hours is enough personally, but I'm not in charge of that anymore. So it is what it is, and
Yeah.
then things have to be morphed as we move on.
Yep.
This is just personally me speaking. There is that 7 hours sitting there. So whether Board of Health grabs 5 of that down the road, and yes, they don't have the funding for it, I truly understand that. So then the other funding source has to come into play, they're gonna make it work.
So that floater could fill in for select board, could fill in
Correct.
for.
well, I'm
building.
hoping that she'll fill in for AdCom.
And wherever it may
Because,
be needed.
because that's another,
And there's a whole other discussion out there about,
Place
we're
I
missing,
wanna
we're
go.
missing secretaries. Or I don't even want to call them secretaries, I don't know the proper language, but all these boards and committees do not have proper.
Support.
Support, thank you. Support for these nightly meetings, so
Right,
minutes get done, things can happen properly, it doesn't exist. And then the
Yeah.
world of social media gets upset because those minutes aren't posted, well, there's no one to take the minutes. And
Yeah.
Zoom has, hello Zoom, Zoom has been wonderful, because there is now an actual recording of, you guys don't
Right.
take your tape recorder as much. We do for backup. But, it's recorded, here's your meeting,
and you can take minutes,
you can pull them right
Out
out
of
of there, yeah. So
which is great.
it is good, and you get the actual contents of this discussion,
Right,
not Joe Didi swearing at somebody, content.
Oh, I think we got that. good.
Yes, right, I'm getting better, I promise, but it is what it is, so yes, 10 hours hopefully for Board of Health, and Joe Didi's personal opinion is if it has to be more, it's gonna be more. Board of Health isn't what it was 10 years ago.
And Tom, you've been doing a wonderful job.
Yes,
You really have, I'm very impressed.
Doing your
And-
permits
and you
and all
know-
that.
thank you.
Sue.
I just wish you were here 6 years ago, when Tom Fitzgerald had said, he mentioned it to you a while back.
Yeah,
And I know you were young and you weren't really into it yet in Westfield, I get it,
yeah,
but I'm glad you're here today and.
me too, me too.
You're
Thank
breath of fresh air, you understand things, and from what I've been hearing, you actually ask questions.
I try.
That's all you can do,
I
get the right
try.
answers and move on,
Yeah.
so, very impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Now we can get you a rounded Board of Health and people that wanna go to meetings, and the candidacy thing is up, and hopefully someone gets elected.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're true and they really wanna be here, and you'll have a nice board again,
Yeah.
And you've done wonderful, you come back, how many times?
just once. I was elected
You were elected,
twice.
right, right,
And
but
then
that's
came
what I'm saying.
back
But
once.
Jean originally ran because no one else.
I
would
know,
help
that's
her.
what I'm saying, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
truly appreciate you coming
Really.
back. So this board does some functionality.
Yeah, I went from a paying position to a
I know.
non-paying position, to an elected position. Yeah.
Understood. Well, we
So-
appreciate your service. Thank you.
Well,
I know, it's still done.
I enjoy that because you always have to learn.
Mhm.
If your brain stops learning, you become a vegetable.
Yeah,
So that's why I liked, is the educational aspect of it.
Sure.
So,
And we are going to miss you because you do have lots of information and you,
well, after 30 years, you pick up a
But
thing.
who's on the ground? She's upstairs. She's around.
yes, you know what's going on.
She
That's
knows,
why she's got a lot of
It's the
information.
knowledge, it's there.
And,
Whether she wanted it or not, it's forced into her,
yeah,
and she has it.
and if Jean didn't volunteer to come back this past year, we would have had very few meetings
Well, understood.
because we wouldn't have a quorum, so.
Right, yeah, but, and I had to make sure I got introduced to Tom. I wanted to see how he was gonna
Yeah.
work out before I left.
thank you.
And yeah, we had a lot of turmoil there for a while.
Yeah.
And so thank God you came back to help us, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
It's been a pleasure, Jean.
well, it's
If I need anything, I know where to find you.
Okay, wait a minute,
across the hallway.
No,
before we leave, I want to vote on this, even though you're not going to be with us. Can we vote on this to just have one meeting for the summer? One in June,
that's what
one in
we used to
July, one in
do.
August, one in September.
No, August, June, July. August, September, you're going back to 2 meetings.
I can't meet the second meeting, so
No,
I won't be able to meet the second meeting.
okay, you can do that, June, July, August, and September. However, if an issue presents itself, you can always
Pick up.
schedule an additional meeting.
right,
So we discuss that now and make a motion now, you and I mean, you're still a member, even though you're not gonna be there.
No,
Okay, so it would be,
I can do that.
and the motion would be, and we meet the first Thursday, because then the nurses will give a report.
Right,
So starting June 1st, June, July, August, and September, we meet the first Thursday of the month. Unless there's an issue or whatever, we can meet again the third, or we can always meet the second or the fourth,
right.
just schedule an additional,
additional meeting, yes.
that's the motion. Okay, so the motion is to meet the first Thursday of the month in June, July, August, and September. And if, in the event of an issue, that's predominant, then an additional meeting can be scheduled.
Right.
That's the motion.
Okay,
Okay?
or if like someone's on vacation and they can't meet the first, okay, so, I second it,
Okay.
all in favor?
Jean Nielsen, aye.
Subraska, aye.
And that's my last motion and my last vote. Except for, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:03 PM.
Oh, that's right, so I can't remember, our next meeting will be,
Well, you got a second,
second
you
it.
got a second it.
all in favor,
Okay. Jean Nielsen, aye.
Subraska, yes.
Okay.
So sign us out.